All right, I think we're good now. Let me pull my notes back up. All right. So first one we're going to start off is the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 25. That's where we'll start off when we kick it off. Hey, Shalom Yahal Ba'ashim Yahushai Brakathum to the brothers. Shalom Yahal Shamar Ilatah Ba'ashim Yahushai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK side of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And I am Precinct Officer 500 or Rock out here in Las Vegas with the Tuesday Brotherhood class. Let's give the Lord a hand. Right. So as the title says, today what we're going to be going over is, did Christ die for the law or for sin? Right. So I'm going to start off already with a question. Actually, that is the question. Never mind. Getting too far ahead of myself. Right. So my objective today is to clarify what Yahushua Mashiach in the Hebrew or in the English, as the world ignorantly knows him as, Jesus Christ, is to clarify whether or not he died for you to be able to sin, or did he die so that you would learn to follow the law? You understand? So that's today's objective for the topic, for y'all to come to an understanding for. Before we get into the topic, I'm just going to ask that everybody does their part to make sure that they like and share the stream. Also, make sure that you leave a comment. Do your part to boost the algorithm. You understand? There may be somebody on your news feed, wherever they are actually in the world, but they might be on your news feed who needs this word, who needs this word. You understand? They're trying to change their lives for the better. You understand? As a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American man and woman. You understand? And quite frankly, for said people, the only way for them to actually be able to turn their lives around for the better is for them to come into the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. You understand? So that we can teach them how to serve the Most High God according to the letter of the law. You understand? So while y'all are doing that, because we're not the Christian church, we're not going to sit there and tell y'all to do something when we're not going to do it. I am going to be doing the same thing, liking and sharing the class. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions online, we encourage you, please type it into the comment section. You understand? I'll get to your questions. I'll get to your question, answer it as scripture, to the best of my ability, scripturally. So like you, trying to multitask a little bit. I'll answer your question to the best of my ability scripturally. If I'm unable to do so myself, then I will pencil it down, take your question to a man that is mightier than myself, and get that question answered for you. All right. Again, like I just said, we're not like the Christian church where we're going to sit here and say, whatever just sounds good to make you feel good. So then that way I can keep on getting you pay your tithes. Although you do need to pay your tithes, that is a commandment. You understand? We deal with nothing but the truth. You understand? We are not like the Christian churches. We can actually get you the answers, whether you actually agree with it or not. It is what it is. You understand? That's exactly how the truth is. The truth doesn't care about how you feel. The truth is what it is. You understand? So again, for those of y'all that are online, if y'all have any questions, and I highly encourage y'all, post it in the chat. I'll get to your questions. Also, if you got any questions in the classroom, make sure that you comment, and share the YouTube. That's the priority, because I can see which one you commented on, which is cool. But just make sure that you at least do YouTube if you're not going to do both. If anybody in the classroom has any questions, raise your hand. And again, same for you. I'll answer to the best of my ability scripturally, and the rest, right? So let me just finish sharing it myself. Are there any questions in the room? All right, I see you out. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So you got a question? Hit me.
So this is it's in the book of Acts chapter 10 where Peter had a vision, and it's from what it's looking like, the Most High basically was saying what He made clean, don't.
I think I know what you're talking about. Go ahead and get to it though. Let's read it.
This is the book of Acts chapter 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 13.
10 and 13. All right, go ahead.
And there came a voice to him, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat."
Mm-hmm.
But Peter said, "Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean."
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, "What God had cleansed, that call not thou common." So this Peter clearly said that I don't eat nothing that's unclean.
Right.
So we know he has to be talking about unclean food.
Right.
And then here on verse 15 it says, "You're calling what I made clean," or it's saying what God has cleansed. You're saying that it's uncommon. So I'm trying to figure out is it deeper than this, or?
So okay. Cargo crates. Hey, Shalom. The first question I got to ask you before I answer it, right? Do you understand what's going on right now that Peter is going through?
Yeah, he went into like a little trance, like a little.
He's receiving a vision.
Right.
Right. So we understand that he's having a vision right now. Now think of it like this: how many times can you honestly count that? A vision that was given from the Lord, from the angels, was as straightforward as what the vision was. Probably can't, right? It's all a parable. It's all a metaphor. It represents something, right? And then of course, because then, Ezra, Peter, will come back out of it in a confused state. Like, okay, but what does that mean though? Right? Happens damn near almost every single time, right? Almost. So, and obviously, the Lord is dealing with Peter on something like, okay, hold on, you trying to call what I made clean, you're trying to call that unclean. Right. Now, go to this is what I want you to do, because we know that Peter followed who? So Peter did what? He kept the law. It said it right here. He's never eaten these things, right? So actually, we're not going to go to that verse. But let me see. No, other than so this vision, which he had seen all the men which was sent down. Nothing, for I have sent them. Let me see where you go to. Okay, to answer it in short, I'll get you your preset later. Let me just write this down, and I'll give you your actual precept later for it. But basically, what the breakdown comes down to is that these unclean animals that he's seeing is the other nations, or not the other nations. It's us. We were unclean, but we got made clean. You understand? So, I should have hit you with this question. What separates us from, and when I say us, I mean humans. What separates us from animals? And you could go the simple route, which I have a little bit of rebuttal to it at this point now because of new research. But the fact that our communication, but basically our intelligence, something that's very simple, right? Even though arguably so, we're starting to realize that dogs are a lot smarter than the common white man. Let's be honest. But no, the biggest thing that separates us from being an animal, you can say it's morality, but what is our morality? What is our moral compass?
Thinking, brain,
I mean, what was it that Peter kept?
the law.
The law. Our moral compass is the law. Even the other nations who don't follow the Bible, who don't follow the Israelite custom, which nobody else does except for us and the ISUPK Commander General Yohana, right? But they have a piece of it where they basically say, you know what, my nation can follow this part where we'll have multiple wives, but bats, they kind of taste kind of good. And so we're going to bring coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? Well, they'll have customs like that. You understand? Well, they'll nitpick, little pieces and fit it into what they, that type of people that they can follow, that they want to follow. They want to lead their nation with, right? So as a whole, though, because even just like what the scripture says, and we're not going to pull it, but paraphrasing, if you offend one thing in the law, you've offended the whole thing. Because at the end of the day, the law is our moral compass to keep us from being what? Think about what we just read.
Death.
Okay, you're right about death, but think about what we just read, though. And what I just explained to you, what he was actually seeing.
Being unclean.
But unclean what, though? A beast. Because think about how we describe all the other nations. The so-called white man is what? He's the most subtle beast of the field. We call him what? A snake. A man with a forked tongue. We describe them with the attributes of a snake, right? Because that's how we all spoke. You know what I'm saying? If you act like a rat, you must be a rat. You know what I'm saying? If you act like a snake, you must be a snake. If you act like, a wildebeest or whatever the hell, obviously that's what the hell you are, right? Because, what is the saying? How does the saying go? If it talks like if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it must be a duck, right? So, if you're doing all the things that a snake would do, then naturally, I understand that you are the snake in the garden. You were the serpent in the garden, right? So now in this vision, though, so we're in all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, eat. But Peter said, not so, Lord, for the voice speaking unto him the second time. What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven. So this was, Peter, after a while, he started to realize, oh, wait, hold on. Because I think the breakdown actually happens where it says, like, there's men that come to the door, I think. And I think it's actually 3 men. Like I said, I'll get you the breakdown for that later. But those beasts, like that's us. The only beast that can be made, you cannot make a pig clean. Right. You understand? You can't make swine edible. You literally cannot. Even though that they sell pork and you gotta cook pork to this temperature for X amount of time, and then it kills all the no, it does not. No, it does not. It does not kill all the parasites. It does not kill all the microorganisms that are still inside of that, inside of that pork. It's always going to be unclean. And that's just like the simplified breakdown of why swine is so unclean. But what is the simple breakdown of swine or any animal being unclean? The simple breakdown for it to be unclean.
It's against the law.
Right. The Lord said it. Because what is it? I want you to pull what is it? I think it's Malachi 3 and 6. Pull for me Malachi 3 and 6. Right? Is that one? Is it Malachi? I always get the book mixed up. I think it's Malachi or Micah. It might be Micah.
Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord.
Yep.
I change not.
For I'm the Lord, I what?
I change not.
But the law is done and over with.
I change not.
But, there's an exception.
I change not.
You've made unclean meat. The Most High God said right here that he's made unclean meat, unclean animals clean. And we're just calling it common. Read it again.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 6. For I am the Lord. I change not.
The Most High does not change. The laws that you find in the very beginning will always remain. Read on so we know why.
Therefore, ye sons of Jacob.
Ye sons of who?
Jacob.
No, the whole world.
Jacob.
No, the white man.
Ye sons of Jacob.
No, the Asian man.
Ye sons of Jacob.
Man, all the people on the face of the earth.
Ye sons of Jacob.
Only the sons of Jacob, which are the 12 lost tribes of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Read on.
Are not consumed.
So that we're not what?
Consumed.
Now, what does it mean by so that we are not consumed, though?
Is it definition of logo?
Yeah, you can look up the definition of consume. I think synonyms might help you more in that case, but if getting the definition of consume helps you, then yeah.
To do away with completely, destroy.
Mm-hmm.
To spend wastefully.
So now break down that verse you just read. For I am the Lord, I change not. So therefore, thou sons of Jacob will not be consumed. Break that down. I'm a dumb Christian.
So it's saying, I am the Lord. I'm not going to change my mind. The sons of Jacob, the 12 lost tribes.
Okay, you don't want to say that I won't change my mind. Because you got to remember, I can bring up very easily off the top of my head. Well, what about the time that Moses pleaded with the Most High when the Most High said that he was going to destroy all of Israel for their disobedience when he went up to Mount Sinai, came back, and they raised up that golden calf? The Most High was going to do away with them and say and tell them that he was going to restart with Moses' seed. Moses said, well, don't do that because then the other nations are going to think this way about you. He changed his mind. He said, you know what? You're right. You're right. I am going to stick with you. I mean, we're gonna see this out. You're right. So don't be mindful of the choice of words. Like my dad raised me on this like real big, and right now I'm trying to teach this to my oldest son. Think before you speak and think before you act, because all of it will be held against you. As a black man, everything that you say and do automatically, you don't even have to be under arrest. You don't have to be dealing with the white man's law, directly. But as soon as somebody's able to use it against you so that they can persecute you and get you prosecuted, they're going to do it. So think before you act and think before you speak. So, let's use better words, right? So go ahead. So break that down.
So it says, for I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So it's saying that the Lord he's not going to change his laws.
Okay, you can say that he's not going to change his laws. Can you give me a little bit more than that though? Because you're there, but make it just undeniable. Let's see. Hey, Shalom Yahbashim Trooper. Hey, it's good to see you in the class. Man, make sure that you keep on tuning into these classes. You understand? Wasn't that Trooper? If I say your name incorrectly, Iwaraya. Don't blame me though. My Hooked on Phonics subscription ended a couple months ago, so my reading ain't the best. If I said that wrong, but it's good to see you in the class, though. So I am the Lord, I change not. So me, this law will never change. So if anybody ever comes up against you to say that, oh, the law's done and over with, or God was a killer in the Old Testament, but now he's a lover in the New Testament. Just remember, you're a liar, because just like what the scripture says, for let man be a liar, but God be the truth. Let's prove it. Because at the end of the day, we already know what's going to happen at the end of New Testament once everything comes to completion. I mean, we're getting an understanding right now of his love and mercy. We're getting a really good understanding of it, to where we're supposed to caveat that off to one another so that we can bring each other out of the conditions that we're in, right? So we're supposed to show and express that love and mercy that the Most High God does have for us, that he's always had for us. So then that way, like, okay, hey, now y'all understand my love. Now y'all are able to conduct that love amongst each other. Now, guess what? I'm gonna show y'all the type of God, the type of power that I am for you when somebody comes up against you. And what is that? Death and destruction. Goddamn, people's eyes and tongues are burning in their eye sockets and their mouths for you. Now, if you ask me, that still sounds like a very loving and merciful God. For me, when my generations, my forefathers had to go through what they had to go through for these entitled, some of them, you understand? God is not going to change. He's letting you know, for I'm not going to change. Now break down the rest of it.
Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed.
Now, explain that to me, though. Because you know what? This, with your question that you had here in Acts 10, if you just look at them almost side by side and you think about it, it's a prime example. It's a perfect, I wouldn't necessarily say priest. It's, how would I say? You could say it is a precept, but there's a different word, there's a different term I want to use. But what makes Acts 10, 13 through 15 that you just read, why does that fit well with Malachi 3 and 6?
Because in that scripture, you see that it's in Acts is talking about the Most High saying, "Eat, rise and eat here," but the Lord don't change, so He ain't talking about His laws. He ain't telling you to eat nothing that's unclean.
Okay, now you're right there. I need you to just bring me home with that, because damn, I don't think I can ask anything without like giving it away. What is the significance of comparing them like that? Now think about what you just said. Keep that thought. And if you got to, say it all over again and continue what you were saying, because like you was literally like, that's how well it was that you were saying. You was right there at the answer in its completed form.
The Lord don't change.
Right.
So for us to think that it's talking about food and you go ahead and eat you breaking the law because you think that it's talking about the Lord made food clean. And
right,
you can be consumed that way.
But how would you be consumed that way? Why would you even have that way of thinking in the first place?
Because the wages of sin is death.
Oh man, no. Oh, okay, you're right. You're right. But think of it, okay, because the Christian church is telling you that the law is done and over with. So when you learn about the Most High, you actually get to know the Most High. And one of the things that you learn is that he's never going to change, so that you will not be consumed in sin. Because what is the Christian church going to tell you? Things to get you consumed in sin, so that you can be swallowed. You can be swallowed up. When you just have a time of being swallowed. You understand? You mean it's like you. But do you understand what I'm saying though? Because if you follow after TD Jakes and go get swallowed like how he did, and being a power bottom and the whole shebang, Saint shebang was kind of different. Pause. That was different. But but if you get involved with that and you follow after his lead, you're going to be consumed because you don't know God. But if you take the time to learn the Most High, that's yours. I like to call it my safety rail, safety rope, what have you. My safety harness is, whenever I deal with like a scripture where I'm not sure. Of course, I still ask for the breakdown, but I'm not sure, like, because how like Captain Jazariak or Captain Katazar or whomever will do a debate, and sometimes somebody will bring something out like, oh, okay, I've never heard that before. That's interesting, and I kind of see why you're saying that, but I'm not gonna, I'm not a goofy who's just like, oh, nope, that's it, and then you're just gonna start, rocking with that. I have a foundation that was already built up of knowing that when I know how to bring myself back home, when I don't understand the scripture, how to bring myself back home where, if you try to say, oh, see, this includes everybody. No. I already know that the Bible is only for, it's very exclusive. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of my favorite verses to break down is Deuteronomy 7:3 through 6. You know what I mean? So, interracial marriages and the fact that, don't do that because you're special. You're above everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So like, I have that type of foundation for myself, but part of that foundation as well is knowing that like God's not going to change. I know that if you say anything different than just like the simple basics, that the law is still in effect, that the Bible is for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. What else? Hell, if the basics, which almost covers the whole thing of who we're talking to and what we're talking about, right? Who they are talking to as well, who they're dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? Is the law still in effect? You know what I'm saying? Like you cannot deviate that. You cannot deviate me from that because my foundation is there. My mind would just go to, like, okay, I got to ask about that. Like, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? But like, you can't move me past that. You know what I mean? So understanding that, the Most High, he doesn't change. The Christian church, the Muslims, all these other nations, they're going to tell you that you can do this, that this is okay. And they'll show you they're doing it. And yet they're not being consumed. But you get what I mean? So, of course, in this vision, Peter, and if I remember, 100% correctly, like I said, I'm gonna get the full breakdown for you. And then, Lord allow, next Tuesday, I'll even start the class out with that breakdown. But those unclean animals that were made clean is technically before you can't you're still a young man, right? So you were considered what before you started putting on all black, coming into classes? What were you considered? Would you be considered in this vision an unclean beast? That's what you would be considered as an unclean beast. But the Lord is gonna make you clean. It's giving you an opportunity. Get clean. You do what you're supposed to do. Now, no longer are you unclean, but you also ain't a beast.
Right.
Now you are a man with the spirit of the, with the breath of life. Right? Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? I know I went like really long-winded with that, but yeah, man, shut up. Yeah, come on, let's move on. No, but no. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you'll have some of those precepts where it's just like it'll ground you with anything and everything. Malachi 3 and 6. I always mix up Malachi and Micah for whatever reason. But Malachi 3 and 6. Most High in Christ, the trooper got that. He got the answer. I saw him comment. I just didn't read it. Most High in Christ, troop. Malachi 3 and 6 is one of those precepts that, just think about it. Any argument that a Christian will say, like, because we're upholding this and and keeping this law and that law, and they try to say, oh, you don't have to do that. What is that stupid? Because I hate SpongeBob, but you get a stupid SpongeBob meme where he opens the chest and it's like old reliable or whatever. Micah 3 and 6. Malachi 3 and 6. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so simple that there's really no refuting it. Because like how Christians will say, oh, well, the Holy Trinity, which is the Holy Spirit, the Most High, and then Yahushua, right? That's all one. I was like, okay, well, if they're all one, and you're saying that Christ came to do away with the law, that contradicts Malachi 3 and 6. Now you sound stupid, even with your own logic. It sounds not only you creating a schizophrenic God, but you know what I'm saying? It contradicts itself. Go ahead.
There's also a scripture in the New Testament where Christ is saying, I'm about my Father's business. Me and him were the same. Like,
well, I want to quote, right?
Yeah, so like for them to say that is just, they obviously don't read the Bible.
Well, because in that scripture it's saying that for my Father and I are one. But the funny thing is they're not reading the entire chapter. They're nitpicking. Like what I said, what the other nations do. It happens. That's literally what Christianity is. It's nitpicked out of our book, our history. Everybody nitpicked off of our shit. It's like not our shit, but our culture, our history, our records. They nitpicked off of us to benefit themselves, right? So, but he was saying, for my Father and I are one. Well, if you read on, people are looking at each other confused, like the carpenter, Joseph, the carpenter. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? They was confused. You get what I'm saying? Did you have any more questions? Most High Christ.
Romans 10 and 4.
Romans 10 and 4.
I just want to know how, because before I came to the home of the truth, somebody asked me about this, and I never ended up getting the answer because nobody knew the answer. It says, "For Christ is the end of the law, for righteousness to everyone that believeth." So, he had told me, as long as you believe, you'll be saved because Christ ended the law. Now, I know what other precepts, but without going to another precept, like, is there a way that there's something in here that can make that make sense?
Okay. So, all right. I'll play your game. Go to verse 1 then.
Come on. This is Romans chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
Okay, so this is just in his mind, in Paul's mind, in what he desires is for all of Israel to be saved, right? So now, of course, after each verse, we're gonna read a verse, then look back at verse 4, right? To help get, how you say, shed some light on of clarity, right? So if for Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that that believeth. So first of all, you have to think about, what do you have to believe? All right, how do you show that you believe? And how do you be righteous? Now, you said you want to stay right here, and that's fine. We can do that. But now we have to actually match our understanding while we're reading. So what makes you righteous in the first place?
Following the law.
Following the law. Is there any other way to be righteous? So, I mean, we damn near can stop right there. But how do you also show that you believe? By following the law. Again, we can stop right there. But no, we're going to read on. Go ahead and hit verse 2.
Verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge.
Okay, so, but for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God. So in other words, so what is it that have a zeal of God?
Like you love God, or you say you love God, you're doing everything to go hard for the Most High.
You ambitious. You want to, you have that drive in you to do the work.
Right.
But read that last part again.
But not according to knowledge.
But not according to knowledge. So in other words, like, you out there trying to do the work of the Most High, but you're not really doing the work of the Lord, because you're doing something that He didn't tell you to do. Right. You're in the church, doing stupid ass dances with the biggest hat, and you know what I'm saying, making a home cooked meal for pastor, but you can't even do it for your own husband. You get what I'm like, what I'm trying to paint. So we have zeal. And that's why Paul right here is, he has that ambition. He has that prayer in the first place, that like, we want to love God. We just don't have the knowledge, the knowledge on how to love God, on how to worship God, on how you get what I'm saying? So again, let's go back to verse 4. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believeth. Well, guess what? It says that we have, he said, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of God. So he's bearing a witness. He's being a record of those that have a zeal of God, but it's like, but not according to knowledge. They have the zeal, but they got no knowledge of God, what He's about, how you even have, the proper zeal for the Most High. So how can you be righteous if you don't know God? How can you be righteous? How can you believe in something that, I mean, you're basically just saying, I believe that something's there, and however I worship Him or that thing is okay. And me, shucking and jiving and dancing and all that other nonsense is giving Him praise. Right. You get what I'm saying? All right, go read verse 3.
Verse 3. For they being ignorant of God's righteousness.
For they being what?
Ignorant.
So ignorant. Do you know what the word ignorant means?
No.
I don't know if dumb would be the same by definition. Try another word. Let's see. Christ is the end of judgments of the law because Christ died for our sins, so we're supposed to be sin free. The law by following the law by following the law. Hey, so Trooper, explain to me what you just said right there. Christ is the end of the judgments of the law because Christ died for our Salakia. Because Christ died for our sin, so we supposed to be sin free. Now, explain what you mean by that. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but elaborate on what you mean. So I know that you're new to my classes, right? So whenever I teach a class and I'm asking a question, always respond to me as if I'm a dumb Christian. You got to lay it out 100 and completely flat. You understand? So then that way it's easy for me to understand and damn near also in a way that I can't have a rebuttal. You understand? Unlearn. Okay, so I think you're behind a little bit. Go ahead, Troop.
Ignorant is lacking knowledge.
Lacking knowledge. So you didn't know. So when somebody actually calls you ignorant, that's just saying that, okay, you didn't know. Right. Even though that a lot of times most people are like, oh, you ignorant, whatever. Right. They make it sound like it's such a derogatory term, but be real. And like, this is why I always tell you, like, I'm okay with being ignorant. I only got to sound ignorant one time because you've seen it personally. Like when I don't know something, I'm gonna ask. I don't care. I want to know. You can laugh at me. We can joke and the whole shebang, but at least now I know. You won't laugh at me again. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very big on that, and you know it. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, did I lose my place? I think I lost. Oh no, I didn't. So for being ignorant of God's righteousness, so the definition is what again?
Lacking knowledge.
So not knowing of God's righteousness, we can stop right there. Go to verse 4.
For Christ is the end of the law.
For righteousness. How do you even know what the hell righteousness is if you don't even know God's righteousness? It don't make sense. To everyone that believeth. How can you believe in God's righteousness? Because what do Christians talk about? How righteous God is and his love and his mercy and whoop-de-whoop. Nigga, you don't even know his righteousness. Because you know what's also included in his righteousness is exterminating nations. We wouldn't even be dealing with the fake Jewish people that inhabit our land right now if King Saul followed that order. You know that? And you know what the best part about that was? That war to exterminate them was out of righteousness. That was a righteous war. Because first of all, what brought that apart, what brought that forth was the fact that Amalek was sitting there killing all of the old and all of the young. Kind of like what Amalek is doing right now to the Palestinians. You understand? They're specifically targeting the old and the young. So it sounds like something is about to happen again. You know what I'm saying? But hey, like what you just said, ain't nothing new under the sun. Right. So the same reason why you're gonna get exterminated today, it's the same reason why you was gonna get exterminated yesterday. But this time, because we know, like what you said earlier, Yahweh Shai is on one accord with his father. He is one with his father. He's one with his daddy. So it's gonna happen this time. He's gonna see it done. You get what I'm saying? But read on, verse 3. And going about, go ahead.
And going about to establish their own righteousness.
Oh, wait, what? Go ahead, read on.
Have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God.
Do you still have a question? Now, there was still, technically, we only read the first 4 verses. You can get an understanding reading after as well. Our kind of, and the ISUPK, what we teach is, if you don't understand a verse in particular, go 2 up or go 2 down, like read 2 more after, or just start all the way at verse 1. Because that helps with context. That helps create that context. Now you know what the hell what you're actually reading, what it's talking about. You get what I'm saying?
So
right?
Just 2 verses.
And of course, the biggest advantage that you have is having context and understanding what you're reading comprehension. And I understand that not everybody has, the greatest reading comprehension, and that's fine. I don't, we're all many members of one body. I don't expect the finger to do the same thing that a toe can do. You know what I'm saying? Where, a toe, depending on which toe it is, like, goddamn it, that's for balance. It helps you with balance. The finger, I mean, hell, it might make it a little harder for me to wipe my ass, but hey, I can still get it done. You know what I'm saying? But you get me? So you know, biggest thing is make sure that when you're reading, take your time. You get a little bit confused, man, go two up. Like, okay, wait, still not making sense. All right, now I'm gonna keep reading a little bit more, and maybe it'll wrap back around. Because you got to think, like, when you're watching classes, like how sometimes, you know, somebody will ask a question and then like they get long-winded and you're like, nigga, where are you going with this? Then all of a sudden it starts to, you know, that domino starts to click right back. And like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? Like how it works, like that. Can you see me one time, Babu Gasha? Right? But so do you understand this question? Like you twab on this one? All right, most high in Christ. All right. Let me see what the trooper said. It said, meaning Christ didn't do away with the law. He died for our sins, making us free of judgment if we continue in the law. Lacking knowledge, meaning unlearned. Okay. I think, all right. Just because you're online and it makes, you know, I don't want to do like this whole back and forth. Just let me know in the chat if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly. You're basically saying that God, for when you learn who you are and that, you know, what Christ actually died for, he died for what you did and not what you're going to do. Because, I mean, if it's anything but that, then you're wrong. But if that's what you're basically saying, because like I said, lay it out flat. I'm a dumb Christian. Lay it out completely flat. Christ died for what you did ignorantly, offending the law, but he did not die for what you're going to do knowledgeably offending the law. I guess you could say it like that. Let me know in the chat. What is your name? Trooper. Oh, damn. Mess up the computer. I were Yara. Man, what a lot I get to see you at Passover, man. I can apologize to you about butchering your name in class, live on class, and then you can teach me how to say your name correctly. Okay, so that is what you're saying. All right. Most High in Christ. Salaki again. Just wanted to make sure. And that's another thing, man. That's another motto that the ISUPK, like we really stand on is, you know, is don't be sure, make sure. You understand? And especially it's my duty as a teacher, if I'm to make sure that y'all understand what I'm teaching, that, you know, I understand. I make sure that you understand what I'm saying. And of course, I understand what you're saying, right? You got somewhere to be? You good? All right. Any more questions? Most High Christ. Bring it.
Romans chapter 14, verse 23.
You've been in Romans, man. You might be a Roman yourself. Romans 14 and what?
And 23.
23.
It says, and he that doubted is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin. I just want to understand what that's saying.
Well, what do you think I'm about to say?
Read up.
Yeah, go to verse 21.
This is Romans chapter 14, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thou brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak.
Okay.
Hast thou faith? Have it to thyself before God. Happy is he that condemneth not himself in that thing which he allowed. And he that doubted is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatever is not of faith is sin.
You know what you just read a precept for?
Peter, Acts 10?
No. Oh. Because, okay, this isn't talking about eating of something or even drinking alcohol lawfully, because alcohol is lawful, right? So obviously it's also not talking about eating lawfully, but what in particular? Read 21 again.
It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, Or anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak.
Okay. Explain that to me. Break that down. Then verse 23 is going to make perfect sense. And then if you break this down, you'll be able to compare it to, or you'll be able to see what this is a direct precept for.
Is it like for like vegetarians?
No. Break down verse 21.
It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine.
Start with that. So what did that just say?
It is good neither to eat flesh,
right?
Nor to drink wine.
Right. What it, like put that in nigga terms, in nigga terms of 2024, so that it's easily to communicate so we understand it. Because I feel like you might be struggling on understanding just that first part, which is gonna F you up on everything else. And that's why I'm asking you to do it line by line.
It is good neither to eat flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So it is good.
Think of it like this.
That neither is throwing me off.
No, right. I understand that. So if you were to take away neither, what is it saying?
It is good to eat flesh.
Right. So now you add neither, which is a negative, which makes the sentence a negative thing now.
Right.
What is it saying?
It is good not to eat flesh.
So in other words, it's a good thing not to eat flesh or wine. Read on.
Nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth.
Okay. Where your brother stumbles. What do you think that means?
Like he doesn't understand.
No. Read on.
Or is offended.
Or is offended. Why would somebody be offended with you eating a clean food or with you drinking kosher wine? Clean wine. It's alcohol. Why would he be offended? Why would that cause a brother to stumble? Read on.
Or is made weak.
Or he's made weak because you're eating this flesh, you're eating this meat, you're drinking this wine, or what did it also say? Or nor anything whereby. So anything that makes the brother stumble, becomes offended, or is made weak. You might eat, drink, or just do something around this brother, and it makes him fall into these three categories, where he stumbles, he's made weak, or he becomes offended. Which, at the end of the day, we know we're not supposed to offend each other. We make that right. I mean, is there any law about us joking around and making fun of each other? Which, man, don't come out to Vegas if you got thin skin like slacking. No, but is there any law against that? No. But if you say something, if I were to say something to you, and you was like, "Hey, I like Salaki, I was left, bro," like that. Like I wasn't cool with that. What you just said. You know what I'm saying? Like you just let me know. Like, hey man, that's like I ain't mean to hurt your feelings. Right. I ain't mean it that way to get under your skin. We was all laughing. I got a little bit carried away. So like okay, so that could be any other way because I'm still doing something that is not against the law, and that's where you gotta be focused on that. This brother is not making another brother weak or stumble or is offended because he's doing something unlawful. He's doing something that there is no law for, so it's okay to do, technically. But now I'm gonna help you out. Think about there's certain times of year that people eat certain foods. And if somebody, you trying to be an example to, let's say your mama, your mom is kind of like, yeah, I see what y'all talking about, but I don't know. And then that time of year come around and you eat whatever that food is, but I thought that y'all ain't do this. What is this a precept for? And if I may just really quick, I gotta say your questions was A1 because they damn near went along with motherfucker. It's like my doggone my class already.
I'm stumbled right now. I don't know.
Think about it. Turkey. Is turkey unlawful? But if you are being an example to somebody who doesn't understand that, who doesn't have a foundation,
right,
and you have just a turkey, like you just go home or you come to work the following day after Thanksgiving, it's just a turkey sandwich. Or no, you got a slave on Thanksgiving, right? You just got a turkey sandwich. Maybe you got some, I really don't know what all you have for Thanksgiving. I always hated Thanksgiving, to be honest. I hated the food because I don't even like turkey. It's too dry. I'm not a big fan of white meat. So I think it was a spiritual thing, but I don't know. I'm not I like cranberry juice, but I don't like they always had a cranberry like jelly slices. I always thought it was weird. And what was that crap called? It looked like just seasoning, but it was all crumbled up. I think it was stuffing. Yeah, the stuffing. I didn't like that. And I'll admit, when I was in the world, the only thing I liked was the doggone ham. That was it. It was a honey glazed ham. That was the only thing I liked. To be honest, I did not like Thanksgiving food. Aside from that, I only liked the ham and being able to see my cousins. Because then we playing football, we boxing, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, I mean, I didn't give a damn. And there was no school. That was the only reason. It was a 4-day weekend. That was the only reason why I like Thanksgiving. Other than that, man, I didn't care. It was a stupid holiday. It is it's an offensive holiday, extremely offensive holiday. But do you understand what I'm saying? Hold on, the trooper said, if the brother having a drinking problem, don't drink in front of him or offer it to him. That's an excellent. Get a trooper a hand. That's an excellent example. Because this is an excellent example of somebody having becoming weak or stumbling, who stumbles or becomes weak. If the brother is on some sort of a probation where he's, getting himself together from having alcoholism, do you think you should drink in front of him? No, you should suffer right next to him. What is that? And we do this once a year anyways. We are ordered to do that once a year anyways. We have to suffer with our brothers and sisters anyways. What is, every other couple of times a week? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what that day is that I'm talking about?
Atonement.
Day of Atonement. Get this super hand. Excellent. You understand? So that is an excellent example of what you can do. And hell, actually, that's all three. You're making him stumble. You really are offending him because now, let's just say, well, obviously, if he becomes weak, it's slick. Your fault. It's your fault. You should have brought it. You knew better. You know what I'm saying? If you bought the alcohol for the brothers or whatever, because y'all knew y'all was all coming together. Okay, cool. But it's nothing for you to, keep it low key, tucked away in your Vic. Hey, let the other brothers know, whatever. Keep it away from him. And in fact, if you need a drink that bad, you might need to have that same counsel that brother needs and be put on a break. Because if you can't just not drink for a couple of hours because, the brother needs to be amongst his brothers, Because y'all, what everybody has to understand is that, especially because this is a Tuesday Brotherhood class, so I really got to stress this. Man, without the Brotherhood, all of us fall. There is no commanding Johanna. There is no ISUPK. There is no Israel. There is no us. There is no Yasha'Allah without Brotherhood. You understand? It's Brotherhood is what keeps us together. So yes, part of Brotherhood is you suffering with your brother so that he can recover, so that he can progress, so that he can be better. Y'all understand? It's unlawful because of the day, not the turkey itself, because of Thanksgiving Day. Told me. Right. You 100% on all of that. 100% on all of that. But y'all understand? So, but all right, so back on verse 21, like what the brother said, because of Thanksgiving, somebody who is weak, because not everybody's gonna be like you, where like, hold on, but like, are you allowed to do that right now? I mean, I know today is Valentine's Day, but is like I saw you just go into the store and buy your wife some flowers. Like, you're allowed to do Valentine's Day. We naturally are not doing it now because we don't want to offend any of our brothers who might see it. We're not doing it out of the spirit of Valentine's Day. It just so happens that, every Tuesday, I always come home with flowers for my girl. Every Tuesday. Or, because like when I was doing the truck driving, I come home, surprise. I'd never tell her I was coming home. When I'd be home, my car would just scoop me up. And then, hey, can we stop at at the grocery store? Get her some flowers and then surprise her. Boom. Just so happens, it's Valentine's Day. Now, am I wrong for buying them flowers on Valentine's Day and giving it to her? Why?
Because you wasn't in the spirit of Valentine's.
It wasn't this. It was. This is what I do. It just so happened to fall on the same day that I would have done it anyways. So there is no, that's not a sin on your part. You're not contributing to, the heathen customs by doing that. But you shouldn't do it just out of the sake of, man, there might be somebody who gets offended on some like, wait, I thought y'all niggas y'all don't partake in this. Like, so what? Now you had a whole class where you was talking about how the other nations and religions and whatnot nitpick and da. But what are you doing? But it shouldn't even be a time of me like trying to explain to it. It's just like, no, you're right. I'm just not gonna do it at all. Because now I'm not gonna offend you. Right. I know it might possibly offend you, so now I'm not gonna do it. We don't eat turkey on the month of November in my house. Nobody eating turkey. Very easy thing to do. Because I don't like turkey anyway. But you get what I'm saying? We're not, we're not eating honey glazed ham in November or December. We don't even eat pork anyways. Right. But you get what I'm saying, though. 4th of July come around, like, you ain't gonna see me with no doggone fireworks. And in fact, we might just do sandwiches the week of the 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? Go Italian or Chinese, or you know what I'm saying? Something completely, matter of fact, yeah, we eating Chinese the whole week of 4th of July because we know the Cold War now is between y'all two. I don't know no Russian food, so I can't, But you get what I'm saying? So now read verse 23.
Verse 23. And he that doubted is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
Now explain that to me. Line by line. So, and he that doubteth is damned if he eat.
If you doubt, what's that? Is it conscience? Like if you have
So think of it like this. It's simple. Who is the eat? It's like who is the eat? Who is he that is doubting?
you.
Who am I?
Israel.
Who are you? No. No, he that is doubting is the brother who would be offended, who would be weak, who would stumble if you were to do something. He's the one who's possibly doubting, or no, that is doubting. All right. Is damned if he eat. Who is the he that eats? That's you, the example. Read on.
Because he eat it not of faith.
So why is it that you're eating not of faith? You'll hear this a lot if you do something not necessarily unlawful, like if you're doing something that would break the law, but you'll hear this like, hey, you can do that, but what you did was out the spirit. You understand? So with you eating to cause doubt on this brother who's already doubting now, or drinking, whatever it is, now you're causing him to become weak. You're causing him to be offended. You're causing him to stumble. You're doing these things. You're doing it out of faith. You're doing it out of the spirit. It's out the spirit. And so go ahead and read on.
For whosoever.
Whatsoever.
For whatsoever is not of faith is sin.
So that in itself is sin.
Okay.
So you simply having Thanksgiving dinner, even though you're not doing Thanksgiving, but just doing the traditions. Okay, I don't want to say traditions because that's literally Thanksgiving. How do I want to say? All right, how about like this? Let's say your mom, while you had the slavery, your mom calls you. It's like, hey, baby, I know that you don't do Thanksgiving, but I just brought you a Thanksgiving plate. I just brought you a plate. It's not Thanksgiving, but I brought you a plate. And you at work, and there's somebody, there's a brother at work that you're working with that, you've been trying to choose my words because you never know, Shalimar might show up in there. No, but you've been working with this brother to get himself right? And your mom shows up with a Thanksgiving plate, wooty woo. Is it unlawful for you to take that? Is it or is it not?
It's not unlawful.
Why is it not?
It's not unlawful because at the end of the day, the brother. Oh wait, let me just.
Yeah. See, I gotta make sure you're paying attention. Is it unlawful?
It's not unlawful, but it becomes a sin because you did it out of the spirit.
Give each other a hand. That was excellent. That was excellent. Exactly. You sinned because you did step out of the spirit. But I'm gonna take it a step further. But why is it that it's sin?
Because
what exactly makes it sin?
You're making the brother be offended or stumble. Now he's losing. He might not want to deal with it because he's going to look at it like it's another. I could have lost a fish basically.
Nah, that's not acceptable. I want a different answer. I'm gonna give you until I find this precept because I don't remember the exact book, chapter, and verse. So I'm gonna clear out all my notifications. Give you some time. Cool. All right. Looking for it now. Go to the book. Go ahead.
Faith without works is dead.
No. Go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 18.
Oh, God. Damn. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, and verse number 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at thine hand.
Hold on. So, what was your job? Going back to what we just read. We're trying to establish an understanding for.
My job was to shed light to this brother.
Deny that plate that your mom brought you. Tell her, Mom, like that's still in the spirit, Mom. In fact, like, hold on. So I'm gonna play Mom, right? We on the phone. Okay. So, hey, little man, I'm outside in the parking lot. I brought you a plate. You know, I know you don't do Thanksgiving, but I did fix you up, something. And I know this is your lunchtime, so I brought you lunch, so you ain't gotta go, spend your money. You can just go ahead and eat this plate. I brought you 3 plates, a little extra, a little extra fixings of your favorite. But I brought you a plate.
All due respect, moms, I'm gonna have to deny that plate.
But it's not for Thanksgiving. I'm just bringing you a plate.
But today is Thanksgiving, and you don't bring me a plate any other day.
So but today I wanted to bring you a plate, though. I'm just trying to feed you.
Mom, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and today's Thanksgiving, and that's why you brought me a plate. You can take it. I don't want it.
Now, young man, I've already pulled up into your parking lot.
And I apologize for that.
You ain't about to have me just turn right back around, go home. Boy, you better come outside and get these damn plates. At least give it to one of your friends.
Want some gas money?
No, I want you to get your ass out here and come get these plates, boy. Now, if anybody question my genealogy, like I don't know how a black woman get there. But you see, but tell me that a black woman, our mothers wouldn't press us like that, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. It's like, no, I'm sorry. You can be upset with me. That's okay. I'll reimburse you. And of course, the funny thing is you trying to make it right. Okay, you spent that money and I see you getting worked up. Let me replenish it. But no, you want to force me to have this. Right. But you know what's more important? That I reinforce myself. I stand on my ground because, quite frank, this brother gonna see it. Mm-hmm. And just because you think that nobody sees you, somebody sees you. You just don't know it. Just because you don't see them, don't mean that they don't see you. That somebody's not watching you. You get what I mean? And you always know that the most when you're doing something different than everybody else, and then they finally work up the courage and they just come up. I see that you've been doing. Nigga, you been watching me? What the hell is wrong with you? Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but okay, you understand that though? You see how that makes sense? and he that doubteth is damned if he eat. You are damning him. But because he eateth not of faith. So you're eating not of faith. So you damn this brother. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin. So now, because you damn this brother, go back to the book of Ezekiel. That blood is on your hands. Does that make sense? All right. Got any more questions? Oh, most of our questions. Hey man, we'll do a whole class on questions. I'm cool with that. Let me see what this brother said. He said it is unlawful, right? She tricked you into the spirit of Thanksgiving. It's not necessarily tricking somebody into the spirit of Thanksgiving. It's not tricking. It's because you gotta think of it like this. You can't be tricked into somebody else's principalities. It's like this. To put it simply and plainly, are you cool with somebody pressing up on some wait, hold on. I don't know all the rules for Facebook and YouTube. What is it called? Alternative lifestyle, that the rainbow people. Are you okay with them, one of them men pressing you with any of they ways, we'll say? Want to grab you like you a goddamn woman? Try to talk to you like you a goddamn woman? Are you okay with that? So there is no getting tricked. It's either you with it or you're not. Either I'm willing to participate or get away from me. You get what I'm saying? There's no gray area with that. It's either you are serving these other guys or you're serving the Most High. You understand? Like, and I'm sure that, because you a trooper, you're a young man. I was calling you troop too, man. See? I see your tricky ways, man. And I was talking to you. I just realized I was calling you troop. I was calling you trooper. See, man? The spirit is there, bro. The spirit is there. Nah. Oh damn, what was I gonna say? Damn, I lost my train of thought. You done tricked me and you got me all miscombobulated. Yeah, that is your bad and your fault, god damn it. Oh, so we were talking about being tricked. Yeah, nope, still going. She knew you didn't celebrate Thanksgiving, but still offered you some food, knowing it goes against your beliefs. Mom, I didn't tell you, pull up, Lord be with you. Mother, but no, not exactly. Yeah, those last two, you spot on. But as far as being tricked, bottom line, at the end of the, you can't be tricked into somebody's principalities. You can't be tricked into, sticking with the morality, the one and only moral compass that points true, that points to a true north, that points true. You know what I'm saying? You can't be tricked out of that. Like, that's, not saying that you're foolish, but that is a foolish way of thinking. You understand? Because it's like I said, so you could be tricked into going into a alternative lifestyle parade. You get tricked into that. You know what I'm saying? Now, can you be lied to? Okay, yeah, sure. I'll give you that. But they sitting there telling you, like, this is the street, this is the time of year, it's closed down for, my first question is why are you talking to that dude in the first place? Trying to get you up to that. Well, you set yourself up, nigga. And I'm not saying that's you, trooper. I'm talking in full generality. All right. Like, please don't think I'm saying like you in specific, but to, kind of just elaborate on how, you can't get tricked into a principality. You know what I'm saying? I was just making a make-believe scenario, right? But, just so that you understand that, like, there is no getting tricked into it. It's either you with it or you're not. That's literally, this goes into a precept directly with in the book of Revelations, where and we're just gonna I'll paraphrase it. We ain't got to pull it, but where the Most High says that I don't either be hot or cold. Don't be lukewarm, or I will spew you out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's Revelations, right?
Want to speed you up?
Yeah, I believe that's right. You know what I'm saying? With you taking that plate, you being lukewarm. You're not taking a stand on either side of the gate. You want to sit in the middle of the fence, which is alternative in the first place. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I just remembered. That's why you'll see brothers on Facebook who will talk about, like, if you sleeping with another man's woman, like, you alternative lifestyle, like that's gay. You know what I'm saying? Like you, and that is because, I mean, hell, that's where somebody else parks.
Right.
They feel. You know what I'm saying? You swimming in it. That's gross. So I get I mean, hey, we was all nasty at one point, but once you put logic to it, then you go, right. That's sad. What kind of person were you? God damn it. Nobody can be tricked if they wanted to partake in it. Exactly. You already had that ambition to do it. And just a quick, and I'm gonna paraphrase it. But where it says that, for those that were, if they left us, they were never amongst us in the first place. I can't remember where that's at, and I'm just paraphrasing it. But it's just saying that, like, people who leave out of the truth, like they leave because they was never actually here with us. They was actually never enduring. In fact, a lot of the times you come to find out that they was, smoking cigarettes. They was, sleeping with other women, like other men's wives. Still smoking weed. They was doing things behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Because they was never fully in. It was just when they left, they finally made a decision that, hey, you know what? I want to be completely cold. You know what I'm saying? But, you come into the ISUPK, it's important that you understand when you take that oath, it's important for you to be hot, burning hot with zeal. You know what I'm saying? For the Lord to do the Lord's work. You get what I mean? Go ahead.
God, it's the book of 1 John, chapter 2, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would not doubt have continued with us. But they went out, that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us.
You understand? And breaking that down to keep it very simple with that, man, they might have been with us for a time, but then they separated themselves. I mean, literally just went into it. I pretty much already broke it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was never really with us. They was, there might have been some broad, some sister that, the brother was chasing, or there was a brother that a sister was chasing. You know what I'm saying? And then for whatever reason, it didn't work out, or there's a lust in the world that superseded their love for the Most High. That's putting it simple. You understand? Because if you talk to John Hyman just spoke about it the other day on Monday, right? About what he let go of the world. I believe, he talks about it from time to time. It was cocaine. He had it, not saying he had an issue with it. It might have been just simply, slinging it, because slinging that's lucrative. It's easy money and buku money in it. You know what I'm saying? But he let go whatever it was that attached him to that cocaine, because you know what? It didn't amount to the love of God that he had. You know what I'm saying? And might not even started with his love for the Most High. It might have just been the fact that he met Commander John Yohana, and this is why he gives him, part of the reason why he gives him so much praise. It's the fact that, Commander John Yohana showed him enough love and brotherhood that John Muhammad was just like, yo, like, this ain't worth this. I have to follow this example. This is something I've never seen before, and this right here is powerful. Again, that's why we say brotherhood is a weapon. You have that brotherhood like you're supposed to, man. The types of demons that you are able to fight and utterly destroy, is is unmatched. A cocaine addiction or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, I know, man. I could give you a list of the things that I was. The fact that I'm still here is in itself. Blood has been pure. Never had a doggone STD. Is insane to me when I look back on it, on how just wicked that I was. You understand? But I was given the opportunity to see some brotherhood, that there is a life that's different, where it's still you can still enjoy yourself. You just let these things go. Like, my love and desire for the brotherhood, and I mean, hell, I've been searching for the Most High. I just didn't believe in any of the stories that I was raised up with. You know what I'm saying? So naturally, and of course, I'm gonna really go into this kind of this sidebar, because it is a Tuesday Brotherhood class. This is part of what brought me into the school myself. You know what I'm saying is, that superseded my love and desire for the things that I was, partaking in. I mean, hell, yeah, I was doing coke myself, and the crazy thing was, I was doing all this nonsense while I was in East Al's military. I was smoking weed, doing my blacks. Hell, I would put in chewing tobacco and smoke a black, two, three blacks all in one sitting. Like, I ain't just smoke one. Like, bro, I was heavy on tobacco. Tobacco was a heavy demon on me to knock. Like, that's probably the biggest thing that I'll talk about. You know what I'm saying? As far as like knocking demons. But yeah, I was on coke, tobacco, of course. I mean, I'm a man, like, and hell, when I was in the Army, I was actually fit. I wasn't all big and chunky like I am now. So, they was after. I didn't even have to step out. They was after me. Them females with that. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I was in all manners of wickedness. Then on top of the fact that, like I just said, I was in East Al's military. I was somewhere I had no business being. But then I started learning about the ISUPK, learning about the life that we're supposed to live, and it was like, it shed that light that, like, yo, this is a lifestyle I've never heard before, and I see that they actually some extremists in what they believe in, but just like what the scripture says, like, for the love of God. Oh, how does it say? Pull for me. What is it? 1 John 5:3, I think is what I'm looking for. Oh no, I think it's 3 and 4. For the love of God is that we keep His commandments, and they're not grievous. Is that it?
5 and 3.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
It's the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. Mm-hmm. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, right? And His commandments are not grievous.
Now, first of all, you read that in the book of what?
1 John.
So that the first book of 1 John is where?
New Testament.
It's in the New Testament. Just for all of y'all goofies that's out there, because we started off with with Acts 10, where kind of, and I understand where your question came from, but it was like one of them things that kind of makes you question, like, about the law, how to bring out, Malachi 3 and 6. And I think you had another one. What was it? Romans 10. Romans 10 and 4. What was that? Just real quick, just to recap on it. I got it. Don't sweat it. Oh yeah, that was another question that basically, throws up, questioning the law up in the air. You get what I'm saying? And mind you, these are questions that he's asking that are where again?
New Testament.
And the New Testament. Well, guess what? Just answered all of that in itself. Even though that we hit Malachi 3 and 6, but that's Old Testament. That's Old Testament. Well, guess what was written in the New Testament, in the book of 1 John 5 and 3. Read it again.
For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments.
That we keep His commandments. You keep the commandments that the Most High commanded you to keep. You say you love God, then prove it. Don't say it, prove it. It doesn't say, for this is the love of God, that we declare it. You know, we lift up our voices like a trumpet and we declare our love and we sing and we dance. No, it says what?
For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments.
That we keep his commandments. You understand? Now read on.
And his commandments are not grievous.
And that's what really brought me in. Because like I said, you know what I'm saying? I was seeing these brothers online, and then, you know, I even met with them a couple of times before. Like I was like, you know what? Like, screw it, I'm doing this. You know, like these brothers, you know, they extremists. They really believe in what they, you know, what they follow. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't look like any type of half-ass, you know, oh, on Sundays I'm the perfect Christian, but on the other, you know, 6 days, you know, I'm a flaming homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't see that. Or I'm a great Christian on Sundays, but then I'm, you know, sleeping behind my man's back with the pastor, and you know what I'm saying? God knows whoever else. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm slinging drugs. I'm partaking in drugs. You understand? It gave me that motivation to clean myself up, because it's like, okay, obviously it's not that bad. And once you step in, like, yo, it's not that bad. The only thing is like, yeah, sure, you got to give up, you know, some of the things that you enjoy. But then, you know, as you get counseling, you come into the school, you learn that the things that you enjoyed, such as like tobacco, such as, you know, weed, cocaine, you know, and these are the afflictions that I had. You know what I'm saying? What I'm giving up was things that I fell in love with because I was trying to mask something else up. There was another problem that I was basically running away from. You get what I'm saying? And you learn to face your problems. You learn to, you know, to man the hell up in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. You understand? Because Commander General Yohana set that example perfectly, that, you know what, all y'all can leave where it all falls back down onto me. You know what? Like, that's fine. I will take this mantle. I will step up and lead our nation. You understand? All right. We got to understand it. Are we good? You got any more questions? Oh, most high Christ. I get Salakia. You know, next class we'll get into my topic. Thank you. Made my topic that much easier. Hold on. Yeah. Come on, sis. Yeah. No, yeah, Salakia. One moment, y'all. Bubba Kasha. You okay, sis? One second, y'all. Salakia. Actually, if there's anybody that's online that has any questions, you know, we got the trooper on there, man. I see you you participate in the class, which is a very big deal, man. Like, one thing that I was raised on with my pops, and I strongly believe this is why I'm the type of student that I am, you know, that I am, not only in college, but also, you know, in the classes in the ISUPK, is that your participation really does help map out your future in you know, in that educational field. You know what I'm saying? Because the more that you participate, the more that you ask questions, the more that you get involved, the more that you're able to get. You see me one more time, Baba Shah. The more that you're able to, you know, how do you say, learn and get from it. The why. You know what I'm saying? Where you can actually engulf yourself in what you're learning. And it makes it, when you're able to engulf yourself in what you're learning, it makes it easier for you to retain it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, when you actually have a conversation with somebody, just think about it. If you have a conversation with somebody just about something like football, you know what I'm saying? Something that has absolutely no importance, because you ain't ever going to get a contract, right? Or a piece of a contract, you know, the damn quarterback, receiver, running back, linebacker, whomever that you're trying to defend is the best one, or team is the best one in the NFL or college or what have you. You'll sit there, you know, battle tooth and nail, but you ain't going to get a cut of whatever the hell that they get, but you go in the bat for it. But the thing is when somebody actually gives you some sort of, you know, like a good, how do you say, how would you say, how I want to put it? I guess if somebody gives you like a good rebuttal, well, you just like, damn, nigga, like I ain't think of it like that. Like, okay, dude is good, but I ain't think about like, you know, this comparison, that comparison, whatever. You remember those conversations. You know what I'm saying? You remember, like, hold on though, but like, dude, old buddy brought this up and like, I ain't going front. He kind of persuaded me on that a little bit. Or, nah, nigga, you said this before. You know what I'm saying? And it was BS yesterday, just like it's BS today. You know what I'm saying? What happened? You remember those conversations when you engage. So instead of the classroom being just a classroom setting, you know what I'm saying? It should be a conversation amongst ourselves. So you know what I'm saying? Trooper, man, go ahead, make sure that you give yourself a hand, bro. Like I can already tell that you're gonna be an excellent student. You're gonna be a great officer. You know what I'm saying? Because you engulf yourself into these classes. You try to participate as much as you can, and that's so important. You know what I'm saying? The same with this young man, but he don't get an applause, man, because he already know what time it is. Now I'm just trying to get this young man an answer. But nah, you know, like that, it's very important, and that's why I try to make, you know, my classes into a conversation versus just, okay, shut up and just listen, raise your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, we all men, we all came here to learn. I was in your seat, and Lord allowed, you know, in time, y'all will be in my seat, and hell, really, Lord allowed, I get to kind of one kind y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because then I know I did my job. I taught you everything I could, and then you just learned more and left me behind. But you know, but nah, for real, like I really meant that. You know what I'm saying? So you said you had another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to give a breakdown on Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1 through 5.
Wisdom. Wait,
Wisdom of Solomon.
That's apocryphal, isn't it? Yeah. And let me get the original. You said 5? And 5 and what?
1 through 5.
1 through 5. Okay, go ahead.
It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labor.
Okay.
When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometime in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints?
Okay, what's your question? That was heavy, but what's your question?
This is what I'm getting out of it, and
so you want to break down?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It sounds like these are the other nations that are amazed and getting surprised that the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indigenous people are the ones that are being saved by the Most High God, that they're the chosen people of the Lord when he comes back. That's what it sounds like.
When who comes back? So no, it's not necessarily just waiting until then.
Okay.
It's in the midst of your life now. So let's say, you know, three lifetimes from now, when you return for the third time from now, that's when Yahusha returns. But in this life, you become a righteous man, right? Well, you have the opportunity for that to be said about you now. You understand? Because how I want to put it, like, you don't want to be in that mindset that anything great is going to happen to you after you die. And the reason why I said that, even though this didn't say anything about death, but you said this is what's going to, you know, you're basically interpreting that this is going to happen. This is going to be said about us when Christ returns. What if, you know, and Lord forbid, what if you die in your sleep tonight? Right. You missed out on the opportunity then of what I'm saying now is what it is. But I mean, afterwards, you get returned. You're brought back, and I mean, what you missed out on your opportunity of this to happen is what I'm saying. Because when Christ returns, you got to understand that Yahushua is going to be the spotlight. Like the angels in Yahushua is almost going to be like a movie for us. You know what I'm saying? And Lord allowed it's a movie for us where we just get to sit back and watch, and we don't have to partake in the destruction. You know what I'm saying? But unless, they give me a little fucking zapper gun, like you goddamn right, I'm partaking. Little Vader's in looking at it. but like you get what I'm saying? Like these, let's break it down. Verse 1, right? Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. Why would you have to wait for Yahushua to be here for that? In fact, okay, if you really think about it, the way that you asked your question, what it sounds like is that you're almost thinking that Christ is waiting for you, or that's like that you're waiting for Christ, so that you can be a bold man, so that you can be, that bold man that stands up against his adversaries. When in reality, Yahushua is waiting for you to be righteous. Yahushua is waiting for you to be this bold man that will stand in great boldness before of such that have afflicted him. They sitting there beating your back with a whip, but yet you still stand up strong. Like this doesn't faze me. I am standing for the Lord. I am standing for his laws. I am following the lead of my King Yahushua Mashiach. Your worldly weapons have no affliction upon me. Does that make sense? And made no account of his labors, right? So of course they sitting there afflicting you, and they're not making account of the work that you put in. They're just coming against you, right? Verse 2, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. That salvation. So of course, now it comes the time where, and okay, now I can kind of see where like you went with that to be like, okay, this is going to happen with Yahushua when Yahushua returns. But let me ask you this. Do you think that you can't have do you think that you can have salvation, not full salvation, like where you are completely lifted out of oppression, but you can have salvation from smaller things in this world that we're in now? I mean, from the conversation that you and I just had before class, it sounds like you are in the midst of that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, a lot of it is only going to be a small taste to what, what the kingdom of heaven will be. Right. But, you are being, some of the things that are afflicting your soul, that is afflicting you, will be alleviated. Because just think about the chain of events since you've come into this school, on how, you come into this school, and one of the first things that we all start doing amongst ourselves, well, we're already doing it, but you get included into, is just how we talk about how we're going to better ourselves and what we can do to better each other. You know what I'm saying? Where, hell, of course I introduce you to my pops and whatnot, and, the networking scheme. It might not just be directly a brother in the school, but you still get that networking scheme of where I'm able to better myself. Right. And and you're taking full advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? You're doing great work in this truth for the school, but it's also good that you are making sure that you putting that same great work for yourself as well to better yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because just like, like what the scripture says, paraphrasing it, but if seek ye the kingdom of heaven first, and all things will be added unto you. Exactly. So I mean, you are, and do not lose this zeal. Keep your eyes on the prize. You understand? Everything else is falling into place, and you see it. It's all falling into place where it's almost like niggas is just walking up to you like, hey, bro, I got a game plan that you'll fuck with. And I will fuck with that. I just got to do this. Okay, I'll go do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally falling into place like that because you got your eyes on the prize. And so naturally, in the midst of that, everybody else is like, what does this just say? And when they see it, they shall be troubled with fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. What did this nigga do? You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's getting ready to go take this test when he should have had that done 15 years ago, 16 years ago, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That should have already been done. I got that at the correct age because I ain't gonna air you out. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? But now you getting it. And then you set yourself up where you getting a $5,000 goddamn license for free. You just doing your part. And then with that $5,000, well, hell, you ain't even got to pay that. But you setting yourself up to, basically from salvation from a lot of the afflictions that you are able to handle now. All right. And what's important, what I'm saying is so important for you to stay on this track, to stay motivated, like this, stay, keep that zeal for the Most High first and foremost, because it's that zeal that it's going to, that's going to help motivate Yahushua, well, not motivate Yahushua, but help motivate the Most High to, all right, you know what, it's time. And then you already there. You're already hitting the ground running. I'll put in work for y'all. I'll put in work for myself. Whatever it is, all you got to do is just say something. You know what I'm saying? And hell, and only in time we're gonna see what the hell that you're actually setting yourself up for. What you actually did set yourself up for. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you keep your eyes on the prize, it's gonna be nothing but success. Because it's things that are being added unto you. Right. You get what I mean? Right. Your focus is being the brotherhood. Our brotherhood is is probably like, and you'll see it next month, but the brotherhood that you experience at Passover is the closest thing that we can compare and say like, oh, like this is a taste of the kingdom of heaven. That's the epitome of like what we can match it to. And mind you, we're doing it in oppression. We're doing it in a time where the world is just freaking terrible. And that's why the scripture says that no man has seen, heard, or even imagined what the hell that we're gonna have in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say though, like no matter what, you have an opportunity to have salvation, right? Throughout your life where you can have control. Because you can keep yourself oppressed under Target, working for Target, or you can say, you know what? I have the power to be able to get something greater than this, so I'm gonna do it. Just like how there's buku brothers in the school. I was talking to Nakazak out there in California. I might have to drive down to California just to get a burger. He's starting up a burger joint, and there it looks scrumdiddlyumptious. Boy, he the Willy Wonka of burgers, bro. Like I'm trying, and hell, and Officer Yawasop out there in Arizona, he started up a freaking beef jerky. He do goat, beef, elk. What was the other one? I think there might have been one more. But man, like I'm hoping that he brings some of that to Passover so I can buy some if I have the opportunity to, because it might be sold out. But you see, the point is these brothers are getting great opportunities where, like, nigga, I ain't gotta punch in no clock. You Target, you Walmart, you McDonald's. Like, man, I got my own thing, like, rocking out. Because what you doing, you about to go work with the brother, right? The captain. Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather work for a brother in the school, or would you rather work for the hell? Who would you think is better than working for a brother in the school? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you have your pick of anybody else in the world. Like, I want to work for you directly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna choose the brother either way, because you could say, "Oh yeah, no, I'll work for the owner of the whole NFL." It's like, okay, yeah, that's fine, but how long do you think it's gonna last? When you talk about big money, because that's your motivation, how long do you think that's gonna last? But because you are making your decisions wise, people are going to look at you and watch. And some of it is going to be jealousy within the family, whether it's on your blood or even your rib side. You're going to hear a lot of the jealousy, like, you still ain't shit. You still a nigga. Ain't shit as, like, you still going to hear all of that. But what you're really going to hear is, oh, you see my success. You see that the Lord is with me. You see me on my up and up because exactly I'm receiving a salvation from all the from what I can have the power in this world now. There's just some things that we gotta depend on the Most High for. You get what I'm saying? And of course, even the little things we gotta understand that you just doing a small part. The Most High is still giving it to you. Does that make sense? All right. So far beyond all they that look for, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. So far beyond all that they look for. Man, in other words, the salvation that they've been looking for, you surpassing it. And it's not even just the other nations. It includes our own nations, because you're going to have haters. Like I said, it'll be your own folk. You know what I'm saying? Verse 3. You go ahead and read verse 3.
Verse 3. Mm-hmm. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometime in derision, and a proverb of reproach.
So, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit. Do you know what that just said right there? What I literally just said to you. It just said it in its own word. In Solomon's words. I put it in my own words, where they're gonna be still saying, like, this ain't a no shit ass nigga. But yet, what you're really hearing is, damn, bro, I see your success. I'm just jealous. I wish I had that for myself. But I don't have the Lord by my side, and I don't have the ambition to do it my damn self. You get what I mean? This was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. Do you understand what that says?
Smart sayings.
So, a proverb of reproach, in other words, like, you could say smart sayings, but so again, it goes back to, he's a no shit ass nigga. That's the reproach. But the proverb is because you know that ain't no niggas is ain't shit, because look at them. They all on Section 8. They can't be a father to their own child. Just sounds wise. It sounds like proverbs. They just, you know what? That makes sense. I see what you're saying. Got you in one of them. You know what I'm saying? Look up the word derision. Because I know how to use it in a sentence, but I'm not 100% sure how to break the word down, if that makes sense. And actually, we're going to finish this one. If you had more questions, did you have more questions?
One more.
It came fully loaded this week. Most High cry.
Derision.
Mm-hmm.
The use of ridicule or scorn to show contempt.
So again, they scorning you. They hating on you. You understand? They're going out of their way to do this. And I know you already thinking about like, oh yeah, that's that nigga already. Like he already done started, bro. Like you know what I'm getting into and already done started. I see it in your face. I know because you got that little sense of pride, like not in a bad way, but like because you know, like yo, it's working. It's really working. I'm seeing it for myself. And that's why I'm stressing, bro. Do not let up on your zeal. If anything, man, push that pedal even further. Go all the way in, bro. Because the kingdom of heaven will be added. And you doing it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself a hand real quick. You know what I'm saying? You an excellent example already. And you just a young man. Just keep up on it, bro. Verse 4. Yeah, we'll go over a little bit. We'll get your last question too. Go ahead and read verse 4.
Verse 4. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor.
So now why were they counting his end to be why is it that the fools accounted his life madness, the people of the other nations, or even the Christian church, the Catholics, the Muslims, the goddamn little bit people? Why are they counting us as our lives as madness?
Because that's how they look at it. Look at us like we ain't shit.
Well, we ain't shit, but also what else? Like your God ain't real. Like look at where you are positioned. Like that's a really big thing, right? You can sit here and say easily, like, okay, where is your God of, the God of Islam in Palestine while all of this is going on with, with the fake Jews, right? Where's your God? But can't they just as quickly say, but where is your God? You're still in slavery in America. You are beneath everybody, no matter where you go. So you know what? You're right. Now, of course, we know how everything is being built up from the ground up. So we're able to see it. They only know so much. Okay. But so with that, they're looking at themselves, they realize once they start to see us, burger business, beef jerky, brothers got clothing, the body oil, body butters, a trucking bit, you know what I'm saying? The list is continuing to grow. These are businesses that are growing. Like me and Myra, we got a rock solid wares. We do jewelry and clothes. If you need, you need your fringes on your pants, just let us know. Right? Rock solid wear, Instagram. But you know what I'm saying? Like they will see all of this. And then they start to realize, like, man, we the fools. We fools accounted his life madness. Like, man, you crazy. You crazy for believing what you believe in. Your God is keeping you afflicted. Clearly he's not even there. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 5.
No, and his end to be without honor. I got it. And his end to be without honor. So in other words, you think that you are giving your life up for something, but it's in vain because they're trying to say your God's not real. Right. You know what I'm saying? Close it out with verse 5.
Verse 5. How was he numbered among the children of God? And his lot is among the saints.
You understand? So they just gonna sit there and question you. You understand? The last couple verses was just them questioning, like, yo, first of all, they're just on some, how do we not see this? And this is who we was pressing. You get what I mean? You said you had one more question. Let's get the last question.
I just wanted to get a little bit of history on the Apocrypha, right?
Okay. So some history on the Apocrypha. What in particular?
Because, me being growing up, I never heard of the Apocrypha.
Okay.
I never heard of an Israelite, but
Right.
I never heard of an Apocrypha. Then I came in the truth, and they said it was the missing books. So I just want to know who took it out of the Bible and all that stuff. Like,
okay, so if you have more questions past what I'm gonna say, just let me know. But now obviously I can only give you what I know, and I don't know too much. But so these 18 books, they rest, they're before the New Testament, obviously during the Old Testament. This because take for example, Maccabees was dedication, feast of dedication. Christ kept that. You find that in the New Testament. There's high holy days that are kept in the Apocrypha that Christ and the other brothers, like they kept and held. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way that it's authentic, that it's legit, right? Now it got removed out of the Bible in 1648 because the Catholic Church, what they claimed at least, was that these 18 books, these 18 books had no significance. There was no importance, according to the gospel in particular. Mind you as well, you got to think, man, 1648 is after 1611, obviously. But what happened in 1611?
1611?
Yeah. You got to think about that, because that's a very big deal as to why they made that move of removing those books. Because mind you, like, think of it like this. What happened in 1611?
Is that when the scrolls got translated?
That's when King James and ordered basically all the linguists. I know one of them in particular was William Shakespeare, to translate the Dead Sea Scrolls, and what we read now. This is the translation. That's why it says 1611 King James Version, because he had those linguists come and translate from the Hebrew and also the Greek into English, so that the common folk, whom of which could read during that time, could read for themselves. So the point was to strip the power from the churches, because what it was before is that, like, your Catholic cardinals and popes and stuff like that, they were the only ones, and bishops, they were the only ones who were allowed to read from the book. So it was only their interpretation. So prior to 1611, they had this is the Bible, all of it together, right? So they had that. Well, it only took 37 years for them to be like, okay, hey, you know what? There's nothing we can do. We can't turn this back around. They've all got the book. We'll at least remove these books. And the real reason for them removing those books is just think about, like, what you've read, what you can read in the Apocrypha, where it really identifies who is who. Like, even like the Maccabees, for example. You know what I'm saying? Nobody loves pork like the white man. And so for them, the way that they came and desolated our temple the way that they did, and amongst other things, you know what I'm saying? Like, it points out who they are. And of course, it points out who we are. You know what I'm saying? The Apocrypha books were really pointed out because, especially when you precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, line upon line, like what Isaiah says for us to do. You know what I'm saying? You add in the Apocrypha, the contradictions make sense now. The who is who makes sense now. They took out a major puzzle piece of our history. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it was removed. It was removed in 1648 by the Catholic Church. Yeah, for the most part, like that's all I know. Like, was there any other questions in specific about it that you wanted to know about?
I just really wanted to know the start of like the 1648 Catholic Church, because now I can go back home.
Okay.
Dive deep into more.
Yeah. I used to know the Pope's name too, that pretty much gave that order to remove it. Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, so I'm not even gonna bother. But yeah, the Catholics did it. The first they try to keep it for themselves, and then hey, we'll control you with we'll control the masses with this book that was only written by and for a specific people, but they've always known the impact and power that it's had. So they was like, oh, okay, you know what? We'll just read this. Then they removed it, then simplified it even more, and when it's the Atlantic slave trade. You know what I'm saying? Where you can only read, like obey your master and stuff like that. And I always think it's funny when people try to bring that out. How the Bible says that. Like, okay, but you read literally the very next verse. It says how masters need to obey their servants. Like, what do you mean? It's a two-way street. Right. And in fact, it's not even talking about slavery. It's literally talking about the relationship that you and I have, on how I'm the man over you. And when I give you an order, you need to treat that as if the Most High gave you that order. And you'll be rewarded as such. But that I need to make sure that when you let me know that there is I can't eat, or I can't, transportation, or, something's about to be taken away from me, and I have the power to be able to fix that and, alleviate or fix any issues that come your way, I need to act on it. I need to do that because I have that type of power. That is the point of me being a man over you. You get what I'm saying? So, what's sad about it, and then we'll close out the class. What's sad about it though is just how they're technically still doing the same thing today. Christians are still doing the same thing, where the exact example that I just talked about, how they only remember this part. They cut off the book chapter, the book chapter and verse that pertain to whatever they have to say, and then everything else is just non-existent. You know what I'm saying? But so with that, we are coming up late. We went a little bit over the time, Salakia. So because of that, we're not going to do the security announcements. We'll just go ahead and close it out. So with that, Shalom Yahshua to the brother, Shalom Yahshua to the sisters. This ISUPK Las Vegas. With that, class dismissed.